Hey everyone, welcome back to Disney Sorcerer Arena. So as you can see, I'm in the middle of doing a Triton Tower. And the reason I'm making this video is of course we got the whoever's going to come out tomorrow for the Alice in Wonderland team tomorrow, and I was hoping really not to have to make a video, not to be compelled, I should say, to make a video, but I was thinking about something, and I just wanna. I'm gonna attempt not to make another one of these videos because I feel like this will be kind of my third video about, is the game dying? People are leaving, and people are gonna leave this game. First of all, people are gonna leave this game because there's always grass is always greener on the other side of the fence, or in somebody's pastures, or whatever that thing is. I keep seeing this. Sometimes I'll be on, tooling around, doing whatever, and I'll be like, and some member of this group will be like, is this game dying? If you think this game is dying, please just go. That's the simplest way to say it. If all you're seeing is negative press, like if you're I'm not on the Reddit, so I'm not on Reddit. I don't know what's going on in the DSA subreddit. I used to be on Reddit all the time, but I just don't have time anymore to be on Reddit, and because I used to play this game, and I was addressing this in a comment. A viewer left me earlier, and please know that I do read all the comments, and I'm trying to juggle about a million different things at one time. And right now, I just haven't had time to shoot a video and put this out there, so that's what I'm doing as I'm climbing the Triton Tower. Which, by the way, if they wanted to make a quality of life, this would be much better, where you actually didn't have to go through and sit here and run all of these things. So DSA, if you happen to be watching, something to think about. Just let people climb the tower once, and then put in a thing where it remembers how far you did it the time before, and let's move on. Instead of having me sit here and, it's just, small time is money type thing, I guess you could say. But I was telling somebody in the comments that I used to play this game called DC Legends. And I think this game is probably, I feel like it came out, I don't know how old this game is. It's got to be around the age of Swolga. I don't know whether that's the case or not. Could be. But anyway, it's a collector game just like this. But it's Warner Brothers. It's DC Comics. It's not like it's Marvel or Star Wars. It's DC. So you got your Superman, you got your Green Lantern, all those fun people. And it's a game just like this. And so I started playing it around launch, maybe. And I spent far less than I have on this game. This game I've spent far more on, because in that game I had an account where I ended up buying a couple of characters. And just so you know, in DC Legends 2, to buy these characters completely unlocked a lot of times. It's $100. Every time you do it, and then it's $100, and so you're basically having, in order to totally unlock a character, you're having to drop $500. But I would just do it like I showed you with the White Rabbit and the Martera. As you can see right now, if you're playing a game that to unlock those characters, you only got to pay $20, whereas to open some of these characters in DC Legends, you had to pay $100. And it's not like they weren't farmable. So you could farm them, just like you can here. Um, because they had the event nodes where you could go through. But the thing about DC Legends is they would put 2 new characters in a month, and you could probably get on Twitter and go look at their thing. I have no idea if they're still doing this, but they used, when they would get ready to announce another character, they would put out a screen with the color affinity. I don't know if you're familiar with the triangle of fire beats water, water beats lightning, lightning beats fire, whatever it is, that whole triangle where you have a red, then you have a green, then you have a blue. Well, in this game, in DC Legends, the red was physical, so we're talking Batman, somebody who's physical. Green was energy, somebody like a Green Lantern, and then blue was your mystic, somebody that uses mystical power, like a Wonder Woman or somebody like that. And so this was the thing that they had going on. So when they would post, who's coming the next month, and they would do this around the 20th, or if not later each month. They would put up the silhouette of the character, and then whatever affinity, whatever color they were, whatever color, whether it was red, blue, or green. And so, you could make your guesses of who was coming, and so you could sort of prepare yourself, because, unless you really knew what they were thinking, then you could decide, then they sort of gave you a heads up of, hey, so-and-so's coming to the game, get ready. And they did this with the various movies. I remember I was playing around the time the original Wonder Woman with Gal Gadot came out, and they put in her and Ares, I believe, at the same time, and then they came out with Dr. Poison somewhere around the same. And so Dr. Poison was a energy character, and I think Artemis and Wonder Woman were both mythicals, and so that's how they did it. And they had the campaign, and I don't think I bought, but it's you don't know who is good until you have them. And so for a long time, Artemis was really good, and then they came out with Lobo, and when they brought out Lobo became very good. And then they ended up nerfing Lobo, and then somebody else became good. And it was always, that way. The particular team I was using was, it had Jessica Cruz leadership, because she's a Green Lantern, if you're not familiar. And I forget the team that was running, but it had some kind of Jessica Cruz synergy. And it's been at least, I don't think I've played that game since I started playing DC Legends, so it's since I started playing DSA, so I think it's been at least, probably 2019 since I played this game. And so I have no idea how the game is now. But at the time, but they had just, the last time I was back in 2019, they had just added raids. And these raids were not like here. It was like you had it's like you had a time every weekend, like it was a 3-day period where your club would have a window to go in to attack, and depending on how well you did against their ranking system in these raids, they would give you rewards based upon that. And so from that perspective, and so from that moving over to DSA has a much better rating system. And I think if you think it through, I think that they've moved away from the model where they're introducing teams at one time. And they're not, and it's not, and we're not in a place where we're getting new teams every 3 months like it was previously. Because, it did take them, they did have a dry spell from October to March, and that's totally, but it's like, if you weren't, like I've said before, if you weren't a whale, if you weren't spending a lot, then that wasn't a problem for you. It's only if you had a lot of disposable income. It's only if you were a whale or a kraken or whatever, and you really wanted to play this game at a super high level, like a member of Alley Cats or Great Spirit or Disneyland Forever or Kumandra or whoever, these clubs that you all know in DSA, exception, whatever. Unless you're those guys, that's not a problem. And for whatever reason, those people tend to always be in every game. They tend to be the loudest voices in the game, because they're the one, pushing the, like I've talked about before. They're the ones being on the leading edge of new content, of progression. And so a lot of times we, when they get disgruntled, we naturally buy into that what they're saying is right. And a lot of times, smaller channels like mine that I, obviously don't edit any of the content. It's just what comes off of my brain when I'm saying it. And I'll admit, sometimes it doesn't come off quite as eloquently as I'd like it. Yeah, but it is what it is. And, all of these content creators, all these guys on the leading edge, they can say what they want to. They can tell you, "Oh, the game's dying because I don't have anybody to gear." It's like, but if you're not, like, if you didn't rush out and buy the dwarves, then you're still gearing the dwarves like me. I spent, those, when they had those little $3 packs, I spent them to get some extra dwarves on my buy-to-play account. And my dwarves they're all max 7 stars, but they're not all gear 8 yet. And so if they were to announce the Snow White event was coming back next week, I wouldn't be ready to get my Snow to gear 7, because I still have 3 dwarves to finish gearing at the same time while I'm trying to gear my Genie raid team for the raid. And while I'm trying to, farm tokens for the March Hare right now. And so, please understand me when I'm saying that. If you're a guy, if you're a person, not just a guy, if you're a person in general who can be swept up into what the loudest voices in a game is saying, like in any game, it doesn't matter if it's DSA, it doesn't matter if it's I don't know, World of Warcraft or Genshin Impact or whatever, or Shadow Legends, or I don't know, pick a game. If you're a person that can be swept up in that, I just want you to take a step back and think about where you are. And this game is basically for free to plays, or maybe light spenders. On my buy to play account, I buy stuff so I can show you, hey, it's not to be like, hey, look at me, I have this, and I'm not going to ask you to donate money to me or whatever, like some other people will, like some other people that are in these clubs that are like, oh, I don't have money to do that, and then all of a sudden, suddenly they have the money, and they're like, oh, thank you, yeah, it's not me. I'm not gonna say. You could probably tell I don't have any influence with DS at all, because I'm pretty sure if the devs heard what I was saying, that they'd be like, that guy's killing us. Of course, we want people to spend money. I'm telling you, you don't have to play this game. You can. It's an option. I mean, and if you're a person that has a lot of disposable income and you choose to buy stuff in this game, you know, God bless you. More power to you. That's great. Congratulations. You're awesome. Thank you for helping to play. Thank you for helping to pay for this game. I appreciate that. Watch the ads also, because the ads are, I guess, how they also generate revenue for this game, and that's fine. But please understand that perception is reality, and just because some guy that's in Kamandra or Disneyland Forever or Alley Cats or whatever club is telling you, oh my gosh, there's nothing to do, that just means there's nothing for them to do. And if they choose to quit the game, okay, somebody's got to fill that spot in their club. Maybe that could be you. Maybe that could be me. You know? And I'm in a situation where another game where a lot of people left because they didn't think there was enough content. And so the developers of this other game, they keep working on the game, and people keep trying to poo-poo it and say the game's dead. And the devs keep working on it, and they keep adding to it, and people keep coming back, and people are still playing. Now, I'm not going to say that game could potentially be dead, but there's people playing when I log on, so I don't know, you know? I don't know how many of you know the backstory of a little game called Final Fantasy XIV, the MMO, but there's a documentary out there that talks about how bad that game was at launch. And then these people at this company that you may or may not have heard of called Square Enix, called Squaresoft at the time, I believe. But maybe it was Square Enix at the time. I don't know if it was. They brought in a guy and they're like, hey, what do you think? And so this guy and his team, they decided to patch to the game and keep improving the existing game while they were working on the version 2 of the game that is now known as A Realm Reborn, which basically wiped the slate of all that original stuff and was the backbone for what that game is now. And I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but we're not talking about insignificant characters. I mean, I don't know. I didn't play Swoga when it came out. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you did. Maybe you can tell our audience, hey, was Swoga the great game it is now? Was Marvel Strike Force the game it is now? I can tell you that when I started playing Disney Legends, it was craptastic. Up until 2019, which I think was the last time I played, it was still fairly craptastic, and yet people kept playing. People still playing. I don't know. Anyway, guys, that's all I wanted to say. I really am going to shoot not to do another one of these videos at least until January. So, from now on, unless there's something really that needs to be addressed, I'm just going to, anytime you comment about the game, being dead, or perception of the game being dead, I'm just going to refer you to this one. So, if just know that if you ever bring this up to me before January, at least January of 23, this is going to be the video that I'm going to point you to. Just Anyway, guys, Thanks for watching. I will be back tomorrow, assuming we get somebody tomorrow. You know. All right, guys. Have a good night. I'll see you. Till then. Bye.